Okay. So Preet, can you see the screen that I'm sharing with you?
So,
Hmm?
yes, sir.
So can you see the screen that I'm sharing with you?
Yes, sir.
You can?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were talking about the regional variations in the age structure, just like we did regional variations in size and growth of India's population, right? So we have discussed these reasons, right? Okay. So now we're going to proceed to understand the next topic, which is the last topic of today's class. Okay. Declining sex ratio in India. Look, you have your textbook with you.
Just a second.
Okay, you have to open up
Page number
page number 20.
20.
You have to open up page number 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can see here on page number 20 that the states which are there in green color,
Yes, sir.
these states have very high fertility rate, like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. I'm again and again talking or mentioning these states, like these states have very high fertility rate. On the other hand, on the extreme south of India, there are two states, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. They have lesser fertility rate as compared to the central states, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. So we have to mention, it's important to see this map, because what will happen once we'll see this map, we'll have a good idea that which states have uh, lesser fertility rate and which states have higher fertility rate. We have to just remember the states in green and remember the states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So you have to see these states, because when we'll talk about the regional variations, whether in terms of age structure, whether in terms of this topic that we are doing, age structure, whether we talk about the regional variations in age structure, whether we talk about regional variations in age structure and growth of India's population, we are always going to mention these states, right? So it's important for us to keep these states in our mind by looking at this map, which is on the page number 20. Okay, so now we'll proceed to the third topic of today's class, and the third topic is declining sex ratio in India. Now look, we all know that sex ratio refers to the number of females per thousand males. All right. So uh, when we compare the males with thousand, when we compare females with thousand males, that is what that's what it's actually the ratio of sex ratio of India is all about. Okay, so sex ratio refers to the number of females per thousand males in a given area at a specified time period. Historically, all over the world, it has been found that there are slightly more females than males in most countries. It is because of the two reasons. Look, we what we understand that sex ratio is declining, the number of females are declining, as compared to thousand male. When we see a particular area, or try to calculate the sex ratio, we always try to take thousand males. And remember that in the whole world, the situation is opposite to that. We have got more female, we have got more girls as compared to male, and it is because of two reasons. And it's important for us to understand these two reasons, that why, despite of declining sex ratio, we have more female in the whole world. When we try to calculate the sex ratio in the world, then we come out with a figure that girls are more in number than to male. And why it is that? Number one reason, girl babies appear to have an advantage over boy babies in terms of resistance to disease in infancy. Look, infancy is a period when a baby is between 0 to 2 or up to 2 years of age. When a baby is under 2 years of age, during that particular period, the girls have more immunity power, the girls have more immunization power. They can really resist the diseases, they can really fight with the diseases as compared to boy babies. So that's the reason, during that period, means under 2 years of age, girls are more in good conditions to fight with the disease. So what happens is that during that period, boy babies may die, but girls baby resist those diseases. So that's the reason we eventually have more girl babies. Second reason is that women have tended to outlive men in most societies, so that there are more older women than men. So it means that in most of the societies we'll see more elder women, group of uh, group of human beings rather than men, because in most societies we will see more elder women than compared to more elder men. And it has been proved that when we talk about the older generation, we have got more women than men. So because of these two reasons, first reason is resistant to disease. Because of this, girls are more in number, and second, elder women are more in number as compared to elder men. So because of these two reasons, you know we have got numbers in the favor of females, right? Okay, so then what is that? The combination of these two factors lead to a sex ratio of roughly around 1050 females per thousand male. So when we calculate sex ratio on the world level, then we have got more females in the form of 1050 males, 1050 males as compared to 1000 males. But the condition in India is not good. Okay, it has been found that the sex ratio has been declining in some countries like China, South Korea, and especially India. Okay, so there is a decline in the sex ratio that is actually going on in this country, or in our country, or South Korea and China. This is what is happening. It is trending right now. So this phenomena has been linked to prevailing social norms that tended to value males such as more females. Okay, so which leads to some preference and neglect of the baby. So what happens? People often try to give preference to more females as compared to male as compared to female. So because of these reasons, there has been a decline that we have all seen over the years. World level, the ratio is pretty much in the favor of female, but we have to study our Indian society. But when we study Indian society, then the ratio is not in the favor of you know favor of female. So the sex ratio is an important indicator of gender balance in the population. Okay, so when we have good sex ratio, then it's always a balanced situation, right? But we have witnessed over the years that sex ratio is just declining and declining, which is not a good situation that is actually coming. But the state level, when we talk about the state level ratios, then it is even worse, right? We have got states like Punjab that has only 793 females as compared to 1000 males. The sex ratio in Punjab is extremely in the worst condition. And Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, they all are facing a very bad situation in terms of sex ratio. Okay, and there are different states sex ratios that have given here in this paragraph. Okay, so now we have understood this problem that sex ratio is declining. So what happens when there is a problem in any indicator, or when there is a problem in any concept of population? Then demographers and sociologists come. They try to understand the reasons that why sex ratio is declining. So now we're going to study the reasons that why it is happening. Okay, so there are several factors that are actually involved in the decline of child sex ratio, like neglect of girl babies in infancy, leading to high death rates, sex specific abortions that prevent girl child babies from being born, female infanticide, killing of the girl babies due to religious or cultural beliefs. Each of these reasons point to a serious social problem, and there is evidence of all these have been worked in India practices and all those things. Okay, practice of female infanticide have been known to exist in many regions, while increasing importance being attached to modern medical techniques. Okay, so what happens? There is certain practices that people do, like either they neglect girl babies, or what happens is that they do the practice of ultrasound. They try to recognize, they try to diagnose that which child is there in mother's womb. If it is a girl child, then they always go for abortion, which is extremely bad and atrocious thing. People needs to change their mindset regarding this this practice that they are doing. So even female infanticide also happens. Female infanticide means, infant means a child that is between 0 to 2. So in many states, people kill their girl, baby girl, or female child, uh, even when after she's born. So this is also a practice that is done. So killing of girl babies, is often done, sometimes in womb of the mother, and sometimes after birth also. People practice all these things, right? Okay, so look at that, the availability of the sonogram. Look, sonogram is an image that we get out of ultrasound technology. We get an image, after this ultrasound technology, in which x-rays are used to diagnose the the sex of the baby. So what happens when people find that it is a girl, they do that bad practice of going for abortion and all those things, right? Originally developed to identify. Now, this ultrasound or x-ray mechanism was actually developed to find out the disorders in baby, but people started using it in a negative form. They started identifying the sex of the babies and started killing them, and going for abortions and all those things. Okay, disorders in the fetus. Fetus is a baby that is there in the womb of the mother, right? So fetus is a term that is used for that particular term. Look, there are two words. Fetus means a baby that is there in the womb of her mother or of his mother. An unborn baby is fetus. And the second term is infant. Infant is when baby born and is under 2 years. It is what infant is all about. I'm sure you know what is infant and what is female infanticide. People kill infants before the age of 2, and in their fetus form also, when they are in the womb of their mother. So these kind of things happen. So now after this concept, we have to tell the factors. We have to show the factors that are responsible for the decline in the child sex ratio. I've already discussed a lot of things regarding this topic. Factors responsible for the decline in sex ratio in India is: first factor, sex specific abortion, that is feticide. Now what happens here is that I've already discussed you that through ultrasound technology they identify the sex of the child and then they go for abortion. This is the one thing that happens. Second thing is that female infanticide also happen. People kill their girl babies before the age of 2, when they are between 0 to 2. Then people kill them. This is also a factor that is responsible for the decline in child sex ratio in India. Third is that preference for male child. This is something that is related to the mindset of the people. People often prefer male child because maybe I think they are not well aware and they are not educated. They are very ignorant kind of people, so they do this kind of practice where they try to prefer male child. This is the third reason. So, and the fourth reason is that severe neglect of infants girls. So this is a kind of point that is related to the third point, that people prefer male child, and when they prefer male child they neglect infants that are girls. Okay, so these are the four reasons that are responsible for the decline in the child sex ratio. All right. So okay, a regional pattern of low child sex ratio seems to support this argument. Okay, so there is, okay, so now we have understood the the factors that are responsible for declining sex ratio in India. Now we're going to understand the regional variation. Look, we have to understand regional variations in all the topics, and we have been doing this. We understood regional variations for size and growth of India's population. We understood regional variations for age structure in India. We're going to understand the regional variations of declining child sex ratio in this aspect also. Now look at that. The regional pattern of low child sex ratio seems to support this argument. It is striking that the lowest child sex ratios found the most prosperous regions of India. Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Maharashtra are among the richest states of India in terms of per capita incomes, and they are also the states with the lowest child sex ratios. The problem of selective abortion is not due to poverty, ignorance, or lack of resources. For example, if practices like dowry mean that parents have to make large dowry payments to marry off their daughters, then prosperous parents would be the ones most able to afford this. However, we find that sex ratio is lowest in most prosperous regions. Okay, it is okay. So what we have understood here in this regional variation is that, we often tend to think like people go for abortions because they are poor. People go for abortions because they are ignorant in their thinking. People tend to go for abortions because they have lack of resources. But the data that has actually come out is pretty surprising, that this the declining sex ratio is actually more in prosperous states, is actually more in states that are economically well. This is a very surprising data. Look, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Maharashtra, these all states are very good in terms of their economic growth is all about. As far as their wealth is concerned, they are very good states in terms of per capita income of people here in these states is very good. But still the declining sex ratio is higher in these states. The sex ratio is going to its worst form in these states. So this is a very surprising data that has actually come out. We often tend to think like low child sex ratio, obviously in Bihar. Low child sex ratio, obviously in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and poor states like. But these data have actually gave us a lot of surprise that declining sex ratio is happening in poor in rich states also. Okay. So okay, so these were the regional variations, right? Okay, it is also possible through that economically prosperous families have future of. Okay. And remember that there are certain strict laws that are formed by the government regarding these abortions. Uh, like people have to give fines. If they go for abortions, there is a provision of imprisonment also. People are put behind bars if they do certain kind of illegal work. Basically, abortion is abortion of a specific sex of a child is an illegal thing, right? So that's the reason for illegal things, or for these illegal practices, government has imposed fines and imprisonment on these kind of people. Okay. Mm, but remember that rules and regulations are important, but it's important to change the thinking of people. The mindset also needs to be changed. Then only we can bring change in the society. People needs to give preference to female child also, which is very important. People needs to change their mindset. Laws are going to work, rules and regulations are going to work, but with that, community participation is what is also very important, where people needs to change their mindset. They have to give that preference to female side also. So so these kind of aspects that come out of this particular topic. Okay, so this is the last slide of today's class. Yes, this is the last slide of today's class. Now here, look, regional variations of low child sex ratio. It has again come, regional variations. So explain the regional variations of low child sex ratio in India. Regional variations of low child sex ratio in India is due to the certain reasons why there is a lot of variations in our country regarding this particular concept of low child sex ratio. Lowest child sex ratios are found in the most prosperous regions of India. As I've already told you that even prosperous states, the states which have good economic, well-being, they are also, under this low child sex ratio concept. So states like Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, etc., are among the richest states in India in terms of per capita income. they also are the states with the lowest child sex ratio. Now look at that. These states are actually causing variations in our country, like in terms of this low child sex ratio. Then the problem of selective abortions is not due to poverty, dowry, or lack of resources. As I've already told you that it is not the reason for low child sex ratio is not only because of lack of resources, not only because of poverty, is not because of dowry. It's basically related to the mindset of the people. The mindset of the people is not up to that level in which they think like they should also prefer female child. So the mindset is also something, is kind of factor that is causing variation in the low child sex ratio. Okay, the last point is that economically prosperous families decides to have fewer children, they may choose the sex of the child. Now what is happening, many families that are economically well-being, what they are doing is that they are trying to have fewer children. And what happens is that in those children also they try to specify, or they also try to go for the abortions. Suppose they need only a boy baby, so they become selective. When there is a girl baby, they go for the abortion. When they have boy baby, they give birth to that boy baby. So these kind of people are also causing variations in the low child sex ratio. Okay, so this was what the declining sex ratio was all about. Today we discussed three topics in the form of growth and you know growth and size and growth of India's population. Number one, we discussed size and growth of India's population. Then we discussed this age structure of the Indian population, and we also discussed declining sex ratio. And we have also discussed all the questions that could come regarding these topics. And uh, your job is to just go through these slides and try to understand what I've tried to make you understand. I hope you have enjoyed this class. Okay, so I think it's time to say goodbye.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Look, I have prepared these PPTs like in such a way that you won't have to refer any other thing. I have tried to, put in everything that I could, in order to give you comprehensive and good understanding of the topics. And I've also attached the questions along with that. And do see these questions and do try to understand, that what they are questioning, referring to, and you will get the good understanding of all the topics, because I have attached certain questions to the topic. So I've come to end. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this class. So only Preet is here. Okay, so I'm stopping this share. Okay, so okay, so until then, take care all. Bye bye. I'm ending the session. Okay, so text me or tell me, Preet, have you liked this class or not, or did you enjoy this class or not?
Here or on WhatsApp?
What?
Am I supposed to text here or on WhatsApp?
I'm not understanding you. What are you saying, Preet?
I'm supposed to text you here or on WhatsApp?
No, you can text me on WhatsApp. No problem. So, okay. I think I should stop the class now and end this session. Okay, bye bye. So we'll and remember one thing more. Look, I know exactly how many days I have to give to every class, or I know exactly how many days I have to give to every chapter in order to complete it. It doesn't make any sense if I complete the chapter within 2 days. That will not make any sense, because it's a 12th standard. I need to give at least 4-5 classes or 4-5 days to complete each chapter, right? So it's important to at least give 4-5 classes to each chapter. That's important to do, because there's a lot of discussion that we have to do, right, regarding the topics. Okay, so I'm ending the session this time. I'm really ending the session. Okay, bye bye.
Okay.
Take care all.
Thank you.